Suffering from anxiety, pain, aching muscles, and poor circulation? A simple bath can fix this. Our herbal bath formula is known to correct these issues. Visit our store at www.blacksunrise.com/herbs-page. Remember to spell sunrise SONRISE. And you can also leave us a review. Welcome to today's Global Black News. And in today's article, you can find it on www.blacksunrise.com. The Ministry of Education for the that's not Jamaica issued a zero tolerance for fights on the streets. I'll read you the article and then I'll give you a short commentary. With two different groups of students engaging in physical altercations in the streets of Port of Spain and El Dorado that have started making the rounds on social media, the Minister of Education, the Honorable Anthony Garcia, expresses his severe disappointment and reaffirmation of a zero-tolerance policy on such acts. The ministry has noted that with the school safety plans that have been instituted in schools across the country, instances of student fights have migrated to the streets. Minister Garcia pointed that the same way in which students are able to respect the rules of the school, they must also respect the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. Fighting in the streets, especially clad in school uniform, is unacceptable. Principals all over schools involved in the recorded incidents have been asked to submit written reports that identify the individuals involved, and the appropriate course of action will be subsequently taken. Okay, so you can find the article at Black Sunrise, and it is titled Zero Tolerance on Street Fights. Now, this is not an isolated incident to one tiny island in the Caribbean, and Jamaica is not Trinidad. Trinidad is not Jamaica. Jamaica is not Haiti. Haiti is not Trinidad. Dominican Republic is not Haiti. Haiti is not the Dominican Republic, yada, 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 right? Several different countries in the Caribbean, all of which is not Jamaica. Let's get that out of the way. All right, so first, we would like to commend the government and the Ministry of Trinidad and Tobago for instituting such a policy. But the policy, though great, and there is no criticism there, speaks to a much deeper issue. What is prompting these children to resolve issues that could be resolved via proper communication to resorting to fist fights? Now, we must make clear that there is a new thing in social media where people are fighting, and to get views, millions of views, they're posting these things onto certain social media channels. If you want to fight, take up boxing. If you want to fight, take up taekwondo. If you want to fight, take up, stick fighting in Trinidad. There's an art form, a martial art form that the slaves brought to the Caribbean called Kalenda. Take up Kalenda. If you want to fight, and I believe that children naturally go through phases where they haven't learned how to properly communicate, and they resort to the most base of forms of communications. And that most basic form of communication is when you cannot resolve something verbally because you're not verbally adept yet, you resort to fighting. So let's get to the root cause of this rise of fighting in the streets and videotaping it and blasting it to social media. Some of it is prowess. It is in human nature, and it's not isolated to Black people. If you want, you could type into Google, parliamentary fights, and where you see them, duking it out in parliaments across Europe. Actually, it's quite hilarious, but we're not advocating that kind of lawlessness. Or you saw kung fu fighting coming out of one parliament in Africa. It was actually really, really interesting. But anyway, that aside, what causes young people to fight instead of resolve things verbally? It can come from years and years of conditioning in the home, where whenever a child does something that is deemed wrong, instead of verbally communicating to the child why something is wrong, some parents resort to hitting first. I do not agree with hitting first. I think it's the last resort. And also, if you're hitting a child past the age of 5 years old, there's something wrong with you. Okay? Some parents believe in physical punishment for children. I just don't believe in hitting children, but that's just me. And some parents believe in verbal communication. Now, there are things children do that may warrant a tap or two. But above the age of 6 or 7, personally, and this is personal to me, I don't think hitting really works. Okay? Now, back to the social issue of why children resort to fights. Okay? So instead of just enforcing the law, what is the psychology behind the behavior? Some of it is to get attention. Why is the child seeking attention through physical altercation? Some of it comes from lack of developing proper communication. Okay? Some people cannot properly verbally communicate, so they resort to physical violence. Okay, so it is important that you nourish and that you cherish and that you generate healthy communication. For example, if a child asks a question, the answer should not be because I said so, because that stunts the child's ability to properly communicate. You can say to the child, I don't really know, or express to the child why it is so, because you want children to develop a proper mechanism of using their tongue. Now, the second factor could also be lack of attention. They're not getting the right kinds of attention at home, and they're getting the wrong kinds of attention. And the wrong kinds of attention usually involve some sort of physical touching, whether it's sexual abuse or whether it's actual physical abuse. The wrong kind of attention usually has a physical component to it, right? So the child is not getting the right kind of attention, they get the wrong kind of attention, and that transfers into out of home behavior. So while I agree with the Ministry of Education implementing proper regulation in social conduct within schools and also upholding the laws of the land, you got to get to the root cause of why people deem it fit to be boxing each other outside of a ring and then posting it to social media. Social media is the new thing. This generation literally believes everything should be on social media. Like, okay, I go to use the toilet, I want to film myself using the toilet. I'm like, no. Oh, look, I'm in the bathroom taking a shower. This generation believes it's okay if you're in the shower to film it and post it on social media. And then when a person is like, you shouldn't be putting that on social media, you get called all sorts of names, like an ancient dinosaur that was around in the Pleistocene era. Okay, so then you have the need in the social era to post everything online. The attention economy, as some people call it, and the attention economy is a multi-billion-dollar economy. How much attention I can get above the next person, and how I can translate that attention, whether it's good or it's bad. Primarily, this was orchestrated by the Kardashians, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but the Kardashians did make fame and money using the attention economy, right? So whether the attention is good or it's bad, if I can capitalize on that attention in some way, shape, or form, I'm going to put it out there. So part of the psychology of this brutalizing each other and then posting it on social media stems from that attention economy, right? So we see there's the lack of communication on one side. We see there's this drive towards the attention economy on the other side, right? So these are some of the components and the deeper issues as to why people like to beat each other up and post that online. I just think it's fucking crazy, but that's just me. Anyway, join us again for some more Global Black News. But kids, I'll say this. Okay, every child goes through a phase of rebellion. Okay, before I go, every child goes through a phase of rebellion. Okay, here's what I say. Since we know that every child goes through a phase of rebellion, put them in an environment where when those hormones are beginning to rage, put them in an environment where they can exhaust some of those raging hormones. Put them in a martial arts class, put them in a dance class, put them in a boxing class, put them on a sport team. But while you're doing that, I think schools need to introduce communication. Because our society, though our society is rapidly expanding communication, we're systematically becoming dumber, which is really ironic. And our communication is being stunted based upon how much people are willing to read something or verbalize something on a screen. Not only that, most of the communications we share is either insulting people, which I don't mind. I believe in free speech, and I don't believe in curbing people's speech. I believe in curbing people's actions. Okay? But people should have a right to free speech, whether or not you like it. Okay? If you call someone an N-word, be prepared for them to call you an insult. Okay? That's free speech. What I don't agree with is wicked actions. But that's just me. That's just me. And for many people, words hurt. So, again, children, don't beat each other up. And worst of all, don't beat each other up and post it on social media. Have a great day.